From the Delta Sky Club
Welcome back, Miss Klein.
to the Jet Bridge, Delta Airlines relies on 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to power operations and serve customers faster. Together, we're putting 5G into the hands of ground staff so they can better assist on-the-go travelers with real-time information throughout the airport. This is elevating customer experience. This is Delta Airlines with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
I'm Peter Schrager, host of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and the Season with Peter Schrager podcast. Whether you're ordering wings for the game or you're whipping up a 7-layer dip or you're ordering a pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizzas to buy one, get one wings to whatever it is you want, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats is the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply, and see the app for details.
Giants Extra Point is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giants fans. Shop gifts and unwrap the wonder at Kendra Scott. Hackensack Meridian Health, keep getting better. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. And by Moody's, decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. The New York Giants get blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7 here at MetLife Stadium. John Schmeelk, Jonathan Casillas, the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa, with you from MetLife Stadium. And JC, we'll start with you. It's hard to really pick out anything that you can feel good about out of this game. It was really just a dominating performance by the Buccaneers from start to finish. They outgained the Giants 450 yards to 245. And I think we'd all be careful not to take too much out of a second half where the Bucs were playing very soft defenses for much of the final 30 minutes.
Yeah, the Giants were getting buried from the beginning of the game. You know, Tampa Bay right away had the long drive, which took up over half the first quarter, scored a touchdown. Giants get the ball. You know, they got a sack with an unblocked player, which DeVito avoided. Evan Neal gets beat by Canty, and, you know, he makes a sack. You know, the Giants been digging themselves in holes, especially at home. You know, but today I saw a different team today. I saw an uninspired group that lacked effort a lot throughout the whole entirety of the game, offensively and defensively, and that's why you look at the score and, you look up the fourth quarter, half the stadium's gone. And then, the Giants are down 30-7 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And there was no reconciliation for that. It was just a bad start and then a lack of effort and looked like an uninspired group playing out there today.
Yeah, and, the big talk before the game, Bob, was about the quarterback change and all that. But the quarterback aside, and the offense didn't play well, obviously.
But it looked the same anyway.
But the defense, 5 of the Bucs' first 6 drives, they scored points. They punted just once. They had drives of 70 yards, 82 yards, 86 yards, and 95 yards. The defense did not come and deliver coming off of a bye week this week.
No, not at all. And, just their lack of being into the game, alertness.
Tackling.
You're down 7-0, okay? And you go for it on 4th down, and you don't get it. Wandale gets up and you don't get the 4th down. So now they start with a short field. They march down the field. And now you have them in a goal-to-goal situation. And you stop the run and you knock the ball out. And everybody on the Giants is just standing around it. Almost hit a Giant player in the foot.
Yeah, Brian Burns.
And Baker Mayfield comes diving in to save the possession. Hey, down 7-0. Be alert, be aware, be into the game. Hey, you recover that. It's a momentum switch, right? It's a moment. It's just 7-0. Yes. They wind up kicking the field goal. You're holding the 3. You get the ball in plus territory in the second quarter. And, listen, John Michael Schmitz got embarrassed on that play. He just got completely run over, knocks you out of field goal range. Another time you drive it down the field to start the third quarter. Now you run Wildcat. Tracy fumbles the football away. It's Neighbors with a drop. You just can't keep doing these things, man. But it's been happening all season long. And that's why you're, unfortunately, 2-9 at this point in time.
That was today's game breakdown, brought to you by our local Ford stores. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford official truck of the Giants. We'll hear from Brian Daboll at the podium and more when we return. Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. Let's pause 10 seconds and give our stations a chance to identify themselves on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
WFAN, WFAN-FM, WFAN-FM HD1 New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
John Schmeelk, Jonathan Casillas, Bob Papa with you on Giants Extra Point. The Giants fall to the Buccaneers 30-7 here at MetLife Stadium. We're keeping an eye on the rest of the games around the NFL. Kayvon Thibodeaux just had a kickoff return for a touchdown after initially misfielding the kickoff, runs it all the way back for a touchdown. Dallas now leads the Commanders 27-17 with 2:49 to go in the fourth quarter. The Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Giants on Thanksgiving in just 3 days' time.
Yeah, I mean, they looked abysmal on Monday night against Houston, and now they're going on the road in a rivalry game. When you think of the Giants, and when you think of the Cowboys, and you think of Washington, you think of the 70s and the Redskins, Cowboys, and Staubach and these crazy games. So, yeah, it's an entertaining game. But I don't really know where to pick up the pieces on this one, man. This is hard to believe that this is the effort that the team gave coming off a bye.
And you figured that coming off everything that happened this week with the quarterback, and, John, you've been in locker rooms like this. Something like that can galvanize a group. It can push them together. And I'll be honest, being in the locker room this week, especially later in the week, there seemed to be some of that. There was good energy in the locker room. There might have been a little bit of annoyance about how some of it was treated by outside people talking about the team. And I thought they were going to be ready to go and they were going to be ready to fight today and play well. And just on both sides of the ball, the level of execution was just very, very poor.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about positive energy, and everybody was really fired up and pumped up, and there was a hop in everybody's step. And then what happened? They came on the field and whoo.
Yeah, I think we talked about Daboll even saying it last year that what Tommy DeVito did for them last year and also this year, why he went to Tommy DeVito, because he wanted a spark. And I said this before the game, don't look for Tommy to have the spark. You provide the spark as a defender, as an offensive lineman, as a running back, as a receiver. Don't wait for somebody. It looked like they were waiting for somebody else to make a play defensively and offensively. They just look a lot lackadaisical. Something that, I think the Giants have been outplayed here at home every game. I mean, they're 0-6 at home now. They've been outplayed, but I never seen the effort as low as it was today. And that, for me, that's very concerning.
The other thing, too, is, man, I mean, you can almost see it. It's like they're just waiting for the Giants to be in man on certain third downs. And the quarterbacks, you can clearly see they're all right, they're going to be in man. And whoever is supposed to be the spy or the shadow is not going to spy or shadow. How many quarterbacks this year now have killed the Giants with a run when they're in man? Bryce Young did it in Germany. Joe Burrow did it for a touchdown. Jaden Daniels has done it going right back to week number 2. And Baker Mayfield today, you could just see. One of them was a design. He saw they were in man. He's like, I'm dropping back. No one's going to be looking. I'm taking off. 11 games into the season. You can see it up here in the box as we're calling the game. That's exactly what they're going to do, and they keep getting beat by the same things.
And then 2 other continuing issues. Another red zone turnover. That's their seventh. That's 3rd fumble, 4th interception. If you want to count a turnover on downs in week 1, that's 8 turnovers inside the red zone.
I don't count that because, to me, you ran a play and you got stopped.
That's fair.
Here, you're running a play and you're just handing the ball to the other team.
All right, let's go down to Coach Daboll. He's addressing the media after the game.
Did? Okay, tough game. Give Tampa credit. They did everything better than we did today.
How do you explain that performance from your team?
Yeah, it wasn't good, Dan. It wasn't good. For a variety of, missed tackles, converting in the red zone, turning the ball back over in the red zone. Had a good week of practice. Did a lot of work, and obviously it didn't show. So, no excuses.
You said you were hoping that Tommy would provide a spark for the offense. Why do you think that didn't happen?
Well, they played well, and we didn't play well. So, get down 23-0, changes the complexion of the game some. Had a good drive coming out of half, turned the football over. So just not good enough, and that all starts with me.
How much do you feel, if at all, everything that happened this week with Daniel and the whole situation
no
had
excuse.
any effect on the team?
No excuse on that. Just didn't do a good enough job.
You
regret benching Daniel?
One more time?
Do you regret benching Daniel?
Yeah, no, we're moved on here. You know, we didn't do a good enough job today all the way around. That starts with me.
I mean, in the context of doing it to spark the offense and improve the way the offense looked.
No, we weren't good, Pat. So no excuses. You know, wasn't a good day.
What do you tell the team after a performance like that?
Yeah, just that. You know, I think there's a lot of prideful people, but what we put out there wasn't good enough. Can't make excuses. We got a short turnaround, but didn't do a good enough job. And again, had a good week. We started out slow. We got down 23-0. You know, things compounded and battled there in the second half, but ultimately not good enough.
Brian, what's a good week to beat? What makes you feel like a week?
Yeah, no, good energy at practice, good detail. Bouncing around. Again, it's no excuses. It wasn't good, and that's my responsibility.
Brian, you guys are averaging this season 14.8 points per game, which I think is the lowest in over 25 years for this team. Why has it been a week-over-week issue with the offense?
Yeah, just we're not doing a good enough job.
What did you think of Baker taunting the fans with DeVito's symbol?
One more time?
What did you think of Baker Mayfield taunting the fans in the stadium with DeVito's?
Yeah, I think they played well, and he played a good game. So give those guys credit.
Brian, do you start, when you talk about having a good week of practice, I'm sure you sensed the team was healthy, that you sensed you were going to come out and here and play a good game. When it doesn't happen, you kind of question, am I getting through to these guys or am I not reading them right? Because the performance does not match anything that you thought of before the game.
Yeah, look, Paul, I understand the question. We didn't do a good enough job. And we got to be better.
What are some of the issues you're seeing with the defense?
Yeah, we got to do a better job of tackling. Third down conversions.
The pursuit of everybody, gang tackling to the ball.
Yeah, we're just missing them. We missed a bunch today. It's something that we focused on. Obviously, not good enough, and at the end of the day, that's my responsibility.
Your decision, 4th and 1 early in the game.
Yeah. I had 2 plays there. Thought we had an opportunity to get a first down and keep the drive going, try to build some momentum, and didn't get it.
Neighbors was the target in the first half. Why was he not involved?
We didn't have very many plays. Certainly had some there dialed up, and they had, whether it's a coverage designed to, I'm not saying double them or anything like that, just a better coverage for the play in and of itself. But didn't have very many plays, Dan. Try to mix in the run. That's started out the game with a good run, and not much after that. The game got away from us and turned into a pass-a-thon, which is not what we want to do.
How do you convince the team that the big move you made this week is in the right interest of the team when you had this performance?
Yeah, I think we moved on here, Pat, with it. Again, we just got to get ready to go here for this week.
How much did you moved on, Brian, but there were a number of players who stressed and said that they believe Daniel was this team's best quarterback, namely Dexter, and then to have this performance, is there a concern? Are you worried?
Yeah, no, again, we're moved on from it. We've talked about the Daniel situation. We just got to do a better job, play better all the way around.
Do you think this was a positive? Like when you're weighing the pros and cons of making that kind of decision, that this is a possibility that you might not get your intended result, which was, like you said, to create a spark.
Yeah, again, Jordan, I just say look, Daniel's on. He's not on the team anymore. We've talked about that. We got to do a better job all the way around.
Maybe your starter next week.
Yeah, we'll see if he's healthy and ready to go. He will be.
How do you think he did? How do you think he played today?
Go back and look at Paul. Look, nobody did a good enough job. Start with myself. He just got dinged up a little bit. I think he had the wind knocked out of him back there, and again took a couple shots there. So hopefully he'll be okay.
Brian, that's 6 straight losses. Any concern that this could snowball?
Just trying to get a win. Again, do everything we can do each week. Certainly not, the performance that we set out to have. No question about that. Got to do a better job.
Dave, you've talked about execution all along. Are you concerned with the fight in this team right now? I know what you're seeing during the week, but
yeah, no. We got to do things better. But no, I don't question our guys.
You mentioned missed tackles though a bunch of times. The natural inclination is to say, well, missed tackles is an effort thing. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I'd say we missed some tackles. I think guys were giving good effort, and we missed some tackles. They made us miss. had some
missing so many tackles. If you don't think it's effort, like what's the other explanation?
Yeah, I mean technique. Give credit to the other guys, making us miss, but certainly not good enough.
What's the thinking with calling timeouts on that last drive?
Just try to finish the game. Give Tommy an opportunity to finish the game and keep competing.
Tommy did take quite a few big hits, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. How do you address that in improving pass protection?
Yeah, well, we'll see why there were, the hits were the hits. We'll take a look at that and, try to correct what we can.
I know Tracy came back into the game.
Yeah.
Was he out for a punitive situation with the?
Yeah, he turned the ball over, gave Motor some burn and Gray, and then put Tracy back in too.
How big a concern is that with him moving forward? This is now, he has a bunch of fumbles.
Yeah, something we gotta continue to stress and work on. But I have a lot of confidence in Tracy, but we can't turn the ball over to the other team.
Do you have concern about your job security after a game like this, or do you feel like you are safe and can coach out this season no matter the results?
Yeah, I just, I feel for the guys that go out there and play, and the result that we had today, and focus on getting better for the next week.
How much do you even consider that? How much does that even go through your head when you have performances like this?
Yeah, the only thing that goes is how we're going to make it better, and that's what we'll try to do.
Okay. All right, Dave.
That was the coach's press conference brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Quick timeout. We'll come back with more sound from the locker room, analysis, and a whole lot more on Giants Extra Point. Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7 here at MetLife Stadium.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. John Schmeelk, Jonathan Casillas, Bob Papa with you from the home radio booth here at MetLife Stadium. Gentlemen, we just heard from Brian Daboll at the podium. Bob, your reaction from what the coach had to say?
What's he going to say? First of all, he hasn't looked at the tape, which, you do have to look at the tape. He's going to give you some broad-based generic answers, and they got to play better. I don't know what else to say, man. Guys have to square themselves up and look in the mirror because.
And by the way, he didn't soft pedal this. You could tell by his tone, he recognized how bad this was.
Yeah, I don't know what to say at this point in time, but it's a collection of. I gave you the stats. I don't know what they finished with today, but over the last 5 games, the Giants are giving up 179 yards rushing per game. And although the numbers are probably better today in the rush defense, if you look at effective stuff, it still wasn't that good.
156, not much better.
Yeah,
not much.
It's hard to win in the NFL when you're given 156 yards a game and you don't score. We go back to this whole thing, Jonathan. This offense, whether it was Daniel Jones or now Tommy DeVito, the numbers are about the same. The yardage is about the same. The quarterback's rushing numbers are about the same. You're averaging less than 10 points a game at home, and you're averaging 14 points a game in this modern NFL. Pretty hard to win that way.
Yeah, it looked the same today. Today looked the same as it's looked every game, especially at home. The Giants haven't figured out how to play well at home.
Can we talk about just some fun stuff right now?
Yeah, please.
So the Chicago Bears recover an onside kick against Minnesota down 3 because it hit one of the Vikings players' legs. Caleb Williams then hits more. They kick a field goal to send that game to overtime. The Cowboys have this game basically wrapped up. They recover an onside kick, and Jaden Daniels has just thrown a touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin where the Cowboys didn't tackle him. It was like a 70-yard touchdown pass with 21 seconds to go, and they're an extra point away from tying the game.
Yeah, there was 30
This is
seconds.
nuts.
30 seconds to go, and they complete an 80-yard touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin. It's unbelievable. Now the Commanders, I thought they might go for 2. They're going to kick the extra point here, send it to overtime, and we'll see if they do. Again, the Giants play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
He missed it.
This is the extra point
missed
line
it.
left.
Wow.
He hooked it left.
That's
Wow.
That's Austin Seibert, correct? If I'm not
Correct.
mistaken.
Number 3, he just hooked it left.
And he missed a field goal earlier in this game too, or was it an extra point? He missed a kick earlier in this game. I'm not sure what it was. It was either a field goal or an extra point. But what a wild finish with Dallas and the Commanders.
I think we're violating some kind of rules and restrictions. This copyrighted broadcast is brought to you by.
We're an NFL broadcast. I think they'll give us a break.
Oh my God! It wasn't even close.
No,
that
was a good
was
7 yards.
That was
left.
a Mike Vanderjack. If you're old enough to remember the Indianapolis Colts when he almost killed someone selling a soda where he actually missed the net. Oh my gosh, Cowboys are going to win.
You know what that looked like? That looked after I sliced 3 straight tee shots, and you try to make sure you don't slice it, and you just yank it to the left. That's what that looked like.
All right, anyway, let's go back to the Giants here.
Yes, absolutely. But look, JC, they obviously Brian Daboll talked about the tackling. When you see the tackling, what do you see as a linebacker? It's your job to tackle. What's going on with this? How many short passes in the flat did they have today? Runs where 1 or 2 guys, but usually it's just one-on-one, has a chance at a tackle, and they're failing to complete those tackles.
And I say this almost every pregame, how difficult it is to bring some of these backs down, some of these wide receivers down. They're extremely talented. But it's your job as a defender to tackle. You know, it's your job as an offensive player to block, right? The basics of football is blocking and tackling, right? You know, the Giants haven't been a good tackling team at all this year. And you can look at the rush yards that they give up per game. But for me, it's the collective effort that I haven't seen. I haven't seen guys violently ripping off of blocks to get to the tackle. Because those zone plays that most NFL teams run, those zone plays can hit anywhere. They can go front side, they can go back side, and they're looking for the weak link. But how do you do that? You destroy blocks in front of you. The Giants are just sitting on blocks, whether it's front side, whether it's back side, and they're almost relying on one person to make a tackle. And it's almost impossible to do that as a defense. I think that's why you see collectively, week in and week out, the Giants are giving up rush yards, after big rush plays, after little rush plays. Just consistently happens all year.
Jonathan, I want to ask you about this.
Oh, now Dallas just recovered the onside kick and returned that for a touchdown.
It's unbelievable.
Crazy
if you had the over, you're feeling pretty good at this point.
We watch it right now.
Crazy.
I have to ask you about this, though, Jonathan. This has been going on all year, right? So you keep saying, how do you fix it? It's been going on since week 1, and it's been a thread the whole season. So does that mean that what you're teaching ain't working? I mean, this is the first game that we saw where it looked like the Giants kind of let go of the rope, so to speak.
Early, too.
Early. But with that said, what is it? Is it part schematic where you're not feeling like you're in the right position? I'm asking. I'm asking for a friend because it's been going on since week number 1. Is it go back to training camp and what they did as far as preparation for the season, and whatever they did, never do that again because it ain't working? But it's a consistent theme. And you always hear, every week Dave said, we got to tackle better. We got to tackle better. We got to tackle better. We got to clean up the tackling. But it's not changing. So my question to you is, there's got to be more than just effort, or does it? Because all I know is Bobby Okereke last year was a tackling machine. Bobby Okereke last year had 150 tackles and played every single snap of the year. Dexter Lawrence, Micah McFadden had 98 tackles last year. I mean, Pinnock had 85 tackles last year. Like, they tackled, and they tackled, and they tackled some more. So what is it? I know there's a new defensive coordinator. It's a new scheme, but it's more than just saying we got to clean it up because we're 11 games in and nothing's gotten cleaned up.
Yeah. So from my experience, my first year here in New York was 2015. Steve Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator, and we were not good defensively.
It was one of the worst, statistically, the worst season ever.
With a great coordinator, by the way.
Right, ever. But the second year had a couple pieces come in. Snacks Harrison, Olivier Vernon, Janoris Jenkins. Some people came in. We drastically got better, like drastically. And I don't know if it was just the addition of new players, people like myself playing at the right position, but for me, it's it's a combination of all of the things that you were asking earlier. I think is the new defensive coordinator. I think the way that they're practicing now, I'm talking about collectively as the NFL, I think that has to factor in on why you're seeing, the tackling not being as efficient as it once was, even last year, and then look, the energy today, I just didn't see the energy from the beginning of the game.
And then there's a couple other factors. A'Shawn Robinson, a veteran pros pro, was not on the team this year. And we saw what he did against the Giants.
Yeah.
And he's having a really good year for Carolina. The younger guys that have been asked to step up to assume his role have not played to the level that he played at. And then you take out Xavier McKinney, who was a fantastic safety. So you start taking out some of these guys out of the mix, and then you change the scheme. And, I mean, I'm just at a loss because nothing's getting fixed. It's just the same every year.
And there are two other things that have been a common theme throughout the year, guys. One, the Giants have not won the turnover battle in any game. Well, they actually forced 4 fumbles today. Only recovered 1 of them. So they're once again even 1-1, have not won the turnover battle again. The other problem,
the turnover on downs, I count those as turnovers too.
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
The Giants had a couple. I'm just saying.
I get
the Giants also got stopped on downs.
Right,
but
that's what I'm saying. But would the Giants turn the ball over on turnover on downs? Fourth down, they turn it over at their 37.
Yes. The Bucs also had a couple turnovers on downs as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count in the official.
I got you. Yep.
The other thing that's been consistent is the big play ratio, right? So in this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a 56-yard run by Bucky Irving, a 32-yard catch and run by Bucky Irving, a 30-yard catch by Cade Otton, a 30-yard deep catch by Jarrett, and a 26-yard catch by Mike Evans. So 6 plays of 25 yards or more. The Giants had a 23-yard play, which was their longest, and only 1 other play of more than 20 yards, a 21-yard pass to Malik Neighbors. So once again, the big play differential, a huge factor here in terms of your inability to score points.
Sounds like every home game. Every home game we've had that big plays against the defense, not plays on offense. I think one of the games the Giants had, the longest play was 14 yards. Was it the Philly game? The longest play was 14 yards.
Well, they had 2. They had back-to-back weeks where the longest play from scrimmage was
15 yards. And then, giving up multiple plays over 38 yards. I mean, that's been kind of the recipe for the Giants to lose, definitely at home. That's the Giants' recipe. They don't tackle well at all on defense, consistently give up big plays in the run game and the passing game. Some teams don't even have to pass the ball with efficiency with the Giants because they can just run the ball at will, and I think that's what you saw today. And Baker Mayfield in this Tampa Bay offense is a pass-happy offense, but they got very comfortable running the football today. I think that's because they didn't fear. There wasn't no fear. There wasn't no threat from the Giants' defense that was going to look like they'll be able to slow them down. They were going to go for it on 4th down whenever they wanted to, and they had no fear of them, getting stopped at all.
All right, I'm going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll have more sound from the locker room, more analysis. Carl Banks will join us. We'll take your calls as well. That and a whole lot more coming your way on Giants Extra Point. The Giants fall to the Buccaneers 30-7.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Tommy DeVito, and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN and WFAN-FM, New York.
On the practice field, it has to click. That's it.
What do you think the key is to getting it to click?
Just finishing details, yeah.
Tommy, with all the emotions of the week, you get out there, and for them to jump out the way they did against you guys, I mean, you come in at halftime, what's the mood? I mean, how do you get a read for this team and where you guys are at right now?
Yeah, at that point it was, in our heads, we treated it as a 0-0 ball game. You don't have to try to get it all back at once. You can't get it all back at once, not in one drive, but to go down and put together a drive and to go down the field and give the offense back our confidence. And I think that, obviously we did a good job going down the field. We just have to finish it to really solidify that and put us back in the game. But at halftime, everybody was up, motivated, ready to go. That's never a question. There's no hanging heads. Nobody allows that to happen, and nobody does that. So we just got to keep that going. But ultimately, we got to come out faster in the first half.
Tommy, do you sense a lack of confidence in this? Do you sense a lack of confidence at all in this offense?
No. I think it starts with the leader. I think it starts with Daboll. He's a very confident guy, and then obviously it trickles down. And I think as a quarterback group, the receivers are confident. I think everybody's confident. I think just when it comes together, you just breathe into each other. Just when things do go wrong or something does go wrong, say there was a missed block or balls on the ground. It's just bringing that whole group together to that one guy to just bring that confidence back into him, knowing he's going to be good for the next play and we got his back.
Tommy, what was your reaction to Baker Mayfield doing your touchdown celebration?
Honestly, I really didn't know until someone just mentioned the locker room. I mean, they were having a good game. They celebrated. It is what it is. Kind of happened last year. I mean, it's going to happen, I guess.
Tommy, most of the quarterbacks get most of the blame and too much of the credit, too much of the blame. Do you kind of sit there and say they wanted me to give him a spark, but it was kind of hard today to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I pride myself on that. I mean, you always want to be that spark. The quarterback is the spark in any offense, not just right now what it is, obviously with the way things have been going, but across the NFL, like everything flows through the quarterback. So yeah, I do. I take that, heavy, being able to get more points going and get things going in the first half. I take that hardly. I'm going to go, obviously, watch the film, see what I could have done better on my part, whether that's on the field, whether it's off, energizing the guys, keeping the guys going, like anything in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to analyze, obviously, but like you said, quarterbacks get, when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's bad. So being able to just stay even keel through it all and understand what my job is and make it better for next week.
I think you've said in the past that maybe the number one quality you have is confidence, that you, whenever you step out there. Did you see something like this kind of transpiring overall as the team today? Or it just seemed that things never got going until the game was really out of reach on the scoreboard?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, but that's just a testament to the guys, especially the guys up front, everybody around us. At certain points, the scoreboard, it was 0-0. We're just going out and playing and trying to put our best football forward. Obviously, like I said before, we got going way too late, but it's there. It's there. We're able to go up and down the field. It's just those little things that that bite you and just kill a drive and just don't allow you just to go down there and especially put points up on the board. It just needs to get nipped in the butt, and it will. It will. I know it's been a while, but it'll happen.
You've played a lot of football in your lifetime. I mean, you've been on teams, I'm sure, that see it, think it's going to come, doesn't come. Why are you confident that at 2-9 for this team that it could still come?
Because I see the way we practice. I mean, a lot of the older guys talk about it. Dex talks about it all the time. Burns talks about it all the time. Like, we're the hardest practicing team that they've seen. They've been around. Me personally, I think that as well. The way we practice, if you go out and watch us, like, we do not practice like we're 2-9, whatever our record is. Like, we're going out there like we are undefeated, and like every day is like a game. It just has to translate from practice to the field. That's the biggest thing. It just needs to happen. But no, confidence is not an issue on the offense, defense, or special team side of the ball. I think that the locker room is tight-knit. I think that everybody has a lot of juice going into the week, especially with how things have been going on the field. There's no fingers being pointed. Everyone's kind of honing in on it, but maybe we just need to hone in a little harder. So we've got to figure it out for this week.
Take two more.
Did you get the wind knocked out of you on that?
Yeah. Just the wind knocked out of me.
Last one.
Does it help at all that it's a short week, not much time to think about this one when you have Dallas coming up, or do you almost wish you had more time to kind of figure out the little details that you talked about?
Right, there's good and bad to it. I mean, you're going to flush it. Obviously, you have to go on to next week, but you still have to be able to go back and watch it and see what went right and what went wrong and why. But that needs to be a quick fix, nip in the butt, and then we're on to Dallas right now. So I think there's a 50-50 with it.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, guys.
DeVito at the podium. Today's player press conferences are brought to you by MetLife, the official insurance company of the New York Football Giants. John Schmeelk, Bob Papa, Jonathan Casillas, Giants extra point. Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. And guys, you can see from Tommy there that he obviously wanted to bring that spark, but he knew, especially in the first half, that you got to give a little bit more offensively. I think they had under 20 net passing yards in the first half of this game, and just not going to get it done, especially against an explosive offense like the Bucs, Bob. That's been one of the best offenses in football the whole year.
Yeah, and when you can't stop them defensively and you're letting them just march down the field, it takes a lot out. Carl made a really good point too, right? I mean, you're watching the game. Where's the Giant pass rush? There was no pass rush today.
Today there wasn't.
But Baker also, because of his awareness and his ability to move inside the pocket just enough, he buys a little bit of extra time. He's decisive in what he does. But, at one point, the Bucs had completed 4 straight third downs. And all 4 of them were between 2 and 4 yards. You never got them in 3rd and 9. You never got – now, eventually you got them in 3rd and 9. They beat you on that, too, with Baker runs. But for the most part, it was easy for them. They were staying on schedule. They were like, okay, we got a 3rd and 2. If we don't get it, we'll go for another 4th and 2 anyway. You know, listen, they had 39 plays in the first half to the Giants' 18. It's hard to develop any kind of momentum offensively when you're on the bench most of the first
And there
half.
were multiple questions about why they didn't get Malik Neighbors more involved in the first half. And I thought Brian Daboll's response was actually correct. Do 5 passes in the first half. It's not like they're throwing to everybody else a bunch of times here.
Well, he also got sacked 3 times in the first half. So you drop back 8 times, and 3 times he got sacked, including the first possession where they ran a stunt, and Cansey came up the middle and absolutely obliterated him. So it's hard to get the ball to Malik Neighbors when you only drop back 8 times and you got sacked on 3 of them.
Only 5 passes.
It's over 33%.
All right, Bob, final thoughts here before you and the rest of the Giants jump on a plane on Wednesday and head to Dallas for the 4:30 in the afternoon, big Fox game on Thanksgiving, Giants and Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys were horrible against the run when they came in here. And then all of a sudden on that Thursday night, they stopped the Giants' run game dead cold. Maybe on a short week with actually no practices and walkthroughs, the Giants will be able to figure out how to get their run defense better. I don't know. I mean, you know what my final thought is? I want to wish every one of our loyal listeners a very happy Thanksgiving. Because most of our listeners, some will be in the car, sitting in traffic, trying to get to some relative's house. But if you're not there by 4:30, you're turning around and probably going home. Like happened once when we were kids, trying to get out to Farmingdale, Long Island from Dumont, New Jersey.
Did not go well?
Nah, after almost 2.5 hours, we hadn't even crossed the Throgs Neck Bridge yet. So we just kind of went back. So,
what happened? You guys didn't have any dinner or anything? Well, you had no food at all, right?
I think we wound up getting to my aunt and uncle's around 7 o'clock at night. We waited. We waited in the Bronx at my grandmother's apartment for the traffic to subside finally. Anyway, don't leave at like 10:30 or 11 a.m. on Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Long story short, though, probably a lot of our listeners won't be listening. They're going to be watching on Thanksgiving. Yes. So I want to thank everybody that hangs in there with us, that listens to the pregame show and listens to the postgame show and listens to every Datino guarantee that you could possibly get that usually doesn't pan out. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
He did not have any guarantees today. I
know, even he's given up on the guarantees. Because when he comes at you hard with some stat that's very affirmative, it usually goes the other way.
Well, Bob, have a safe flight. Enjoy Nick and Sam's Wednesday night in Dallas, and have a pleasant Thanksgiving, my friend.
But seriously, thank you. Because you guys are the ones that make us go, right?
That is true.
You're the ones that listen, and then you send us nasty tweets, and it's hard to talk half you off the ledge because half the time you're right, and the other half the time you're wrong.
Bob, we'll talk to you on Thursday.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, but the rest of our listeners won't. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow.
I can watch Coach Daboll's show on NBC4 New York, getting you set for the Giants and Cowboys.
That is true.
The Eli Manning Show, MSG Network.
All right,
brought
guys.
to you by Panini.
Quick timeout. Giants football is brought to you also by Verizon, the official list of sponsors. I'll give you one more. Verizon is the official 5G network of the New York Giants.
Presented by Ford, MSG Network, each and every week.
Verizon is the official 5G network of the New York Giants. Verizon, America's most reliable network. Timeout will come back with more sound from the locker room.
Come on, you got to laugh.
Highlights and a lot more. I'm laughing too,
I'm
Bob.
thanking everybody for supporting all of our stuff, and let's have a little laugh here.
You're making me laugh.
It's not life or death here. It's you root for your team. You hope it gets better. People still show up. It's the New York Giants. It's 100 seasons. And you root for your team, and let's just hope things turn at some point.
Quick timeout. Bob, we'll talk to you later in the week. Bob. And we'll be right back with more right here on a Giants Extra Point. Giants, again, fall to the Bucs 30-7.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Devin Singletary, and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, the Fan, WFAN and WFAN FM, New York.
First and goal at the 1. DeVito in a shotgun set. Singletary to his right. Handoff Singletary into the end zone. Untouched. Touchdown Giants. With 11:28 to go here in the game. They're on the board. It's now the Bucs 30 and the Giants 6.
That was today's scoring drive of the game, brought to you by Citizens. For every scoring drive this season, Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work tackling important community issues, improving overall health, and empowering our youth. That was the Giants' only scoring drive of the game, hence it's our scoring drive of the game. It was the culmination of a 13-play, 68-yard drive. Devin Singletary running it in from 1 yard out. Again, Giants lone touchdown. John Schmeelk, Jonathan Casillas with you on Giants extra point. Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. JC, we've heard from a bunch of guys downstairs, and look, we've heard from Coach Daboll and Tommy DeVito downstairs, and both of them, I think, have been pretty clear that what happened today was a team-wide failure. It's not just one guy. Nothing went well today. You know, we talked before the postgame. We're trying to think of one or two guys we could highlight that really played well today, and we had trouble coming up with a couple of them, to be honest with you. I'm sure when we look back at the tape tomorrow, we'll find a couple, but watching it live, it's hard to see that. So I'm not quite sure where to go here until we start hearing from more guys downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, losing 30-7, I mean, that score was 30-0 before the fourth quarter. You know, that's a collective effort. It's a collective effort to lose like that. Every game that you win is a collective effort. You know, it takes a lot of people, but also it takes a lot of people in a lot of different situations to lose 30-7 at home, being down 30-0, you know, at the end of three quarters, where, you know, Tampa Bay could just take their foot off the pedal and just kind of coast through the rest of the game because you have zero chance of coming back in the last 15 minutes of the game. It's a collective effort. You know, poor tackling, not great execution on offense, not great execution on defense. You know, for me, the energy consistently throughout the whole game just wasn't there. You know, and I spoke about that early because first thing that I look at is let me see the energy of the guys. You know, let's see the energy of the guys. And they just didn't look – and Daboll keep using the word spark, and I just didn't see a spark. I saw the whatever word is the antithesis of that. I saw that. I didn't see that the spark that we all thought was going to happen. And it was kind of like you felt it in the air, but it just never showed itself today. Defensively, they looked poor. Offensively, they looked like they looked basically the entire year, just not efficient, not taking advantage, not executing, situationally not good. And that's what you see. You see 30-7, but that's how the game was. It was a butt whooping from the first quarter all the way through.
Giants football is brought to you by our local Ford stores. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford official truck of the Giants. One of the Giants' leaders, Dexter Lawrence, was in the locker room after the game. Here's what he had to say.
We missed a lot of tackles. We didn't contain Baker well in scrambles. We didn't cover well. It's soft to me.
Are you more disappointed with the effort than you are with the execution in general with this team?
I don't think we lack effort. I think we just not doing well tackling and covering on defense.
Why do you think you guys played soft?
Because we didn't tackle and cover well.
I guess, was there anything you saw like leading up to this that kind of gave you warning signs that I guess how was the week? Did you see things like that?
I thought we practiced well. That was my message at halftime. We practiced too hard. We practiced too good to go out there and play like that. And just continue.
How would you describe your level of frustration right now?
Probably a 10.
Do you think it can get better? And if it does get better, how does it get better?
I mean, I think it always can get better. It's a process. Right now it's a long process that, you know, I'm here for it. I'm going to keep leading, doing all I can on the field to lead, and, you know, talking to the guys I need to talk to, the defense, guys on the offense, whoever. But, yeah.
Do you think everyone is bought in to what this program is right now?
I think so. I mean, like I said, I don't see lack of effort. I don't see lack of, I don't see selfishness. Just got to execute better, man. We got to tackle better. We got to cover better. We got to be mentally locked in on whatever being called out there, you know? It's just keeps popping up from one player out to another player out to another player.
Sometimes this happens late in the season, but there's still a lot of games left. You kind of worry.
I think, like I said, I think our effort's good. I think our mindset is we want to win. We just got to execute better.
When a young guy like Malik says that he is tired of losing, and he's only been here for 1 year, what is your message to him?
I'm with you. I'm tired of losing. This season we have a good team, and the season's not turning out the way it should, and it's frustrating. And I get his frustration. I have it too. But you just gotta go out and lead. Keep going. Keep giving my all. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best to bring guys along as best as I can.
Dex, in that moment after the touchdown, you went to the sideline. You're standing there with your hands over your helmet, kind of rocking back and forth. What are you doing in that moment?
Frustrated. Keeping my cool.
Yeah. Did you see? Obviously, so Baker Mayfield did the Tommy DeVito, after scoring a touchdown.
I didn't see.
You didn't see that.
What do you think of the fact that he did that, taunted the crowd in the stadium like that?
I didn't see.
Yeah, this could happen any week, but when it happens in the same week that the Giants cut the starting quarterback, do you think that had any effect on the locker room and the way guys react?
I don't think so. That's just a coincidence. I don't think that had an effect on the team. They just played well. Tampa Bay played well. They didn't have many mistakes, and we had a lot.
Right, soft is about as damning of an indictment as you can give on a team and a defense. I mean, is that fixable in just a few days or in the season?
Like I said, because I'm saying soft as we didn't execute our calls well. We played with a lot of effort. Soft is not executing well. Soft to me, like it's soft to not execute well.
So you guys have a good week of practice, which you indicated to the guys, told the guys ahead of time to practice well. So then like why does that happen when you have soft execution in a game?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Do you feel that the connection between the coaching staff and the players is still strong? Sometimes there's a disconnect, and that leads to bigger play.
Of my knowledge, I think so. I don't know. We can have more accountability all around. But with my knowledge, I don't see any disconnect.
Do you feel like you're being put in the best position to have success?
I think so. Defensively, like I said, we just gotta be mentally locked in on our job. On that one play, in that one moment, be in those moments, and gotta execute.
Is it draining?
We'll take 3 more.
Is it draining for the defense when the offense can't put points on the board, especially early when they're shut out in multiple first halves?
They put 30 on us, so however many points they put on us. So we didn't do our job to create short fields or create turnovers. Right? It's going to be hard. We had a new quarterback in, so they were going to do whatever they did, blitz on every play. So we got to take it as a defense. We got to understand that, and we got to play harder for the guys across the ball.
Dexter, how do you think you played yourself since you were getting?
They try to ice me out a lot of the game. I had 2 hands on me the whole game until the end of the game, pretty much. That's what I got to expect. I got to play through it, whatever it is, try my best to defeat those and hope and, depend on the guys around me to make plays.
Dexter, do you think it's worth having a players-only meeting at this point to just have everybody air out their thoughts and see if we can resolve some of these issues?
I think we talk to the team a lot as leaders.
Thanks, Dex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dexter Lawrence, postgame for all your office, industrial, and residential moving needs. Trust Clancy Relocation and Logistics, the official moving and relocation partner of the New York Giants. Visit clancymoving.com. And, JC, I heard Dexter there parrot something that you've said a lot of times this year. We've talked about the poor offense, and after the games, Giants haven't scored enough points. And you always say, well, John, the defense can score points. The defense can set the offense up. And we talked about this. Only one takeaway again in this game. The Giants have not started to drive inside the other team's 20-yard line the whole year. No defensive touchdowns this year. And I think Dexter was correct to say, look, new quarterback Tommy DeVito, it was the defense's job to take some of that on our shoulders to provide some support today, and they failed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I correct you because remember I talked about takeaways, turnovers. They didn't take the ball away. Tampa Bay gave them the ball. So that's a turnover for their offense, not a takeaway.
Now,
You know
in
what I mean?
fairness, they did force a couple of the fumbles. They just couldn't pick the ball.
They did.
Yes.
They did.
Yes, but you're
and
right.
And also the turnover
100%.
on downs as well late in the game.
You're right
But
about
like
that.
for me as a defender, that's what you look at. Are we taking the ball away? You know what I mean? Like, is it us doing it? You know, and that's what the Giants haven't done.
Yeah.
They haven't taken the ball away from the offense. But I'm going to use some, from Dexter's words. He said the defense is soft. He said they're soft because of lack of execution. And then he says probably being more accountable will help with that, And those are, I think, all true things, and he's frustrated. And I've been where he's at. I've been at that point where I'm trying to figure out the words to put forth of what I'm seeing, what I'm actually going through, what I'm a part of, and Dexter's trying to figure that out because he's trying to make sense of what's going on because nothing really makes sense to the guys, offensively or defensively. They're sitting back like, I know I'm practicing hard. I know I'm out there playing hard. How are we getting blown out? Why can't we win at home? There's a lot of questions that I don't think nobody truly has an answer to. And I think everybody's scratching their heads, and that's why you kind of get these almost, back and forth answers because they don't really understand what's happening, But there is something off about this squad. I don't know what it is, but this today and every game at home, it's kind of had this same type of recipe where everybody's kind of scratching their heads at the end because it's such a lopsided game where you look and you're like, oh, okay, my effort was there. I've been putting in the work. But for some reason, we're getting blown out at home. We can't score touchdowns. We can't stop guys. We can't stop the run. What is actually happening? And the Giants have to figure out a way to answer that question. And they saying they had good practices, but you got to have that translate over to the games because practicing hard is good if it's translating over. If it's not, then what are we doing here?
Quick timeout. We'll come back. We will take a look at some of the stats and continue along with more sound from the locker room on Giants Extra Point. The Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. They are now 2-9 on the year. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Tommy DeVito, and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN and WFAN FM, New York.
3rd and 4 at the 18. DeVito out of the gun. Takes the snap, back, under pressure. He's going to run. He's got plenty of green. To the 10, to the 5, hit around the head and dropped at the 1. Woo! 17-yard run for DeVito.
I wonder if there might be a face mask fine for that. Not technically a face mask, but they grabbed by the bottom of the helmet, which is technically a penalty. That's considered a face masking penalty. No call was made, but the following play, Devin Singletary ran it in from a yard out. So that Tommy DeVito run was today's play of the game, brought to you by our local Ford store. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford official truck of the Giants. Tonight's stats, we'll get to that in a second, but first let's give our stations a chance to identify themselves on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1 New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. They are now 2-9. Tonight's statistics are brought to you by the Archdiocese of New York. Learn more at innercitynyc.org. Well, the stats about as ugly as the score here, folks. Giants get outgained 450 yards to 245 today. They end up finishing 5-11 on third down, and Bucs were 6-11, but that is not representative of what this game really was. Bucs win the time of possession battle 34 minutes to 26 minutes in this game. Earlier, I already went through the big plays. The Bucs had 6 plays of 25 or more yards. The Giants, only 2 plays of 20 or more, none of which were more than 25. So the Bucs had 6 plays longer than the Giants' longest play. Individually for the Giants, Tommy DeVito finished 21 of 31 for 189 yards. It's 11 yards short, guys, of my over-under in the pregame show with our contest. 11 yards short. Just missed that. Tyrone Tracy, 9 rushes, 42 yards. Tommy DeVito ran it 7 times for 32 yards. Devin Singletary, 2 rushes, 3 yards. For the Giants, Malik Neighbors led the way, 6 catches, 64 yards. Wando Robinson, 5 catches, 47 yards. Tyrone Tracy, 4 catches, 28 yards. Theo Johnson, 3 for 39, 2 catches apiece for Eric Gray and Devin Singletary. For the Bucs, Baker Mayfield, as solid and as efficient as you can be. 24 of 30, 294 yards. He did not throw for a touchdown. All 4 Bucs touchdowns came on the ground. 1 for Mayfield himself. He had 4 carries for 29 yards. Bucky Irving, 12 for 87 and a touchdown. Rashad White, 12 for 37 and a touchdown. And Sean Tucker had 4 carries, 3 yards, and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield spread the wealth in the passing game. 11 different Tampa Bay Buccaneers with at least 1 catch in this game. I'll go through the guys that had more than 1. Bucky Irving, 6 catches, 64 yards, 5 catches, 68 yards for Mike Evans, and 5 catches and 16 yards for Sterling Shepard. That's the Bucs on offense. Defensively for these two teams in this game, the Giants pass rush, which again, they were only 1 sack, I believe, behind the Broncos heading into this game for most sacks in the league. The Broncos then had their bye. Well, the Giants, again, their pass rush, not really making any noise in this game. No sacks, just 2 quarterback hits. The Bucs had 4 sacks. Antoine Winfield had 1. Nelson had 1. That's Anthony Nelson. Kalijah Cansey with 1. And Vita Vea with 1 when he ran through John Michael Schmitz for that sack. Those are our stats, folks. Again, the Giants fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-7. If you're listening to this game across our radio network, we bid you farewell. But if you're on our local flagship WFAN, stay with us. It's time to say goodbye to our affiliates across the country on our network. Our next broadcast will be Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving, when the Giants travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Kickoff at 4:30, pregame show at 3:30. Make sure you're with us to check it out. And if you want Giants content during the week, we'll be with you with Big Blue Kickoff live at 12:30 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Make sure you check that out across our radio network. Thanks for being with us, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving on the WFAN Giants Radio Network. But we are not done right here on WFAN in New York. Jonathan Casillas and Paul Dottino will rejoin me. We'll take your calls at 888-808-1019. We'll break it all down. We got a lot more sound from the locker room as we continue here on Giants Extra Point. We'll be right back.
Fullback again. Tucker the tailback. Hand off Tucker. Runs left. Stood up. Fumble the football. It's loose on the ground. And Mayfield recovers it. Baker recovered it. It was just laying there. Nobody noticed that the ball was there. It almost hit Burns in the foot. And Mayfield came out of nowhere and dove on it.
And I chose that as our turning point of the game, because I feel like that was the opportunity for the Giants to really turn this thing around and get a turnover. Heck, if Brian Burns bends down and picks that up, he might be able to run it 99 yards for a touchdown.
He might.
So I thought that was a good play to choose. They would end up kicking a field goal, and then that was all she pretty much wrote there. So that was my turning point of the game. Listen to Boomer and Gio on our flagship station, WFAN, tomorrow morning in the 9 a.m. hour for the Giants Turning Point contest. The first correct caller to name the game's turning point will win 2 tickets to an upcoming Giants home game. John Schmeelk, Jonathan Casillas, Paul Dottino with us as well. Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7.
John, the second that play happened, I turned to Casillas sitting next to me in the press box, and Jonathan, you back me up on this. I said, this is the way the season is gone. In the Giants situation, Gray gets the ball stripped at the goal line, loses it. Seattle runs it back all the way the other side for a touchdown. Well, what happens to Baker? That ball drops. Giants don't pick it up. Buccaneers get to hold the ball, and nothing good happens to the Giants. This is typical. Those 2 plays are exactly typical of how this season has gone.
I'm going to go to Brian Burns in the locker room. We already heard from Dexter Lawrence. Another defensive leader is Brian Burns. Usually has some good things to say down there, or at least maybe not good, but poignant things to say that are worth listening to. So let's listen to Brian Burns after the Giants' 30-7 defeat.
What did you think of your guys' performance today?
Terrible.
How do you
explain it? Tackling. We're supposed to play as we let up. Tackling's been kind of an issue all year. Why did you guys not be able to fix that? Why have you not been able to fix the tackling issue? If I knew the answer, I'd give it to you.
something we've been putting emphasis on and just can't seem to get right now.
A couple guys said there. A couple guys' assessment was you guys played soft.
Say that again.
A couple guys' assessment was you guys played soft. What do you think when you hear that?
I don't know about soft. I ain't watched the film yet, but I know tackling was the issue.
Do you look at it as effort? Do you look at it as something else? Like how do you view it?
Technique, not wrapping up. All the simple things of tackling.
Do you think this coaching staff's message is getting through?
I would like to think that. The reason I say I would like to think that because, everybody has the right answers, but it's not showing up where it needs to show up.
Do you think this team still believes in this coaching staff?
For sure.
Do you think there's a lack of trust among your teammates on the field?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's a lack of trust. And I don't think the effort is terrible. I think it's just really comes down to tackling. And I don't know what we need to do to fix it, but the coach has been preaching that for a while. It's not on the coaches, it's on the players too. They can't make a tackle for us out there, so it's really on us, and today was just terrible.
If the effort is, like you said, is okay, it's fine. Can it be just the fact that you don't have good enough players that can make tackles and do the things that you need to do?
I wouldn't say that at all.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what if it's not talent and it's not effort, and it's just we don't make tackles. I mean, this has been going on for a lot of games.
Yeah, I've been telling you is the technique, angles, situations. Maybe a lot of different things on different plays that can result into missed tackles. But at the end of the day, you got to make the tackle.
Could it be something about poise in the moment, about going for the proper angle?
That's an individual thing. It come down to different people. Different people have different issues with their tackling, and they have to figure that out.
Do you think Daniel's shutdown and release and kind of everything that happened this week, do you think that was a tough thing maybe for the team to handle mentally on a game week?
No. I don't think that got to do with us tackling. Was it, was it a bummer? Was it awkward? Yeah, because Daniel was a leader. He was a great guy, great captain, great teammate. And it was a bummer, but at the end of the day, they ain't gonna do with us tackling.
What do you make out of coming off your bye week, being down 30-0 at home?
It's ass.
How do you guys?
Did you follow up on that? Did you make that known to guys? Like, did you say something afterward?
I spoke with mine.
You want to expound on it anymore?
Not really.
Was that halftime or post-game?
Post game.
How do you guys? How many guys spoke to the locker room after?
GVR was about to speak, and I started to talk, and that was pretty much it.
How unusual was that for you? You said before you're kind of not the rah-rah, yell and scream type of guy?
I'm not usually into the whole, motivational and like you just said, rah-rah and all that. But if it's something that's been on my mind and on my heart, I'll say it.
How fed up are you with all this?
Just want to win, man. Like I said, I told the team, it's not. I'm not excluding myself from anybody. I say as a whole, everybody was bad today, and nobody got anything done what we needed to get done. And we got a short week, and we need to get back to what we were doing.
So when issues are across the board like that, and you say you still believe in the coaching, on the outside, people think that's a reflection of coaching. I think if the whole team basically isn't ready to play.
No offense to anybody from the outside, but they can't really speak on what we got going on in-house.
What makes you think that this is fixable? Or do you think that this is fixable at 2-9 with 6 games left?
Fixing what?
Well, not just the tackling, but also the result across the board. I know you can't speak for the offense, but just the result across the board. Not losing games 30-7.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, I feel like it's coming down to pride and just want to.
I feel like this is a process thing that we're in now. We have a lot of young guys that need to grow, and they're getting a lot of playing time in their first year. So I expect them to, progress throughout the rest of these games, so they can be, because they're going to be key players for us next year. And I do believe in everybody on the team, but especially in the defensive room, I do believe they have talent, and everything like that. It's just, just growing pains right now that we got to get through.
That's what a leader sounds like, folks. When you have a veteran player like that talk after the game, JC, as a guy that's been in the locker room Just give me your reaction to what Brian Burns had to say, the fact that he did talk to the team after the game, which is something he's generally not known to do. That's not the type of guy that he is. Just give me your breakdown.
Well, it sounds like he's a man for accountability. He doesn't want to put anything on the offense or what happened this week with the, whole transition of quarterback. He put everything on the defense. The defense gave up 30 points in 3 quarters, and the Giants, no matter what they were doing offensively, that doesn't give your team a chance to win. Even if the Giants were averaging 28, 27 points a game, that's still, more points than they're averaging, which they're not doing that. They're actually at half of that. But he's taking accountability for not just himself, but for the defense as a whole. Look, I wasn't
30 points on 6 drives, by the way, just to be more specific.
Wow.
6 drives, 30 points.
And, he's taking full accountability. And like I said, it's you don't really know exactly what's happening because it's like, how did we get here? Like, I know that I'm putting forth the effort as a player throughout the week, and I'm doing everything I can. And then I get out here and we look up, after an hour and a half of playing football, we're down 30 points, and they're trying to figure it out, and I think, with guys like that on the defense are good, but look at offense, right? They lost their leader in Daniel Jones. They got rid of him, and then Andrew Thomas has been out. Those are the 2 offensive captains. So where's the leadership? Where's that coming from on the offense? And for me, I know I've been part of 2 Super Bowl teams. We had great leaders on both sides of the ball. And I think offensively, they lack that. Andrew Thomas being down, Daniel Jones being shipped out of town. Where's the leadership actually coming from on offense? Because every week we hear Dexter Lawrence and Burns talking about how they talk to the team, and we're always so high up on Burns. But what about offensively? Who's the guys that's holding everybody accountable? The coaches can only do so much. They can't play. They can't tackle. They can't go out there and block people. You know what I mean?
Do you agree with what he said when he was asked about the tackling, that if the coaches are teaching us the correct fundamentals, this is not a coaching thing, this is a player thing?
I believe so. I mean, like I said, coaches can't go out there and play. They can't make any tackle for you, But look, the way they're practicing now, is different than the way we practice. We practice, we wore pads a lot more. We were actually ones-on-ones a lot more. That means good-on-good, first-string offense against first-string defense. No scout team.
No cards, right?
Right, no cards. Just your offense against, my first-string defense. And we thud, meaning like we hit the running backs, we thud the tight ends. We're going up and we're getting off of linemen. I don't know how much they're doing that nowadays in the NFL. I don't even know if they can do that, nowadays in the NFL.
Yeah, there are literally only there is a limited number of practices during the season in which you can practice that way.
No one tackles during the season. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about maybe that fast speed on speed, which is good against good, ones on ones, twos on twos.
You're probably only going to thud though when you have full pads on. You're not going to thud if you have shells on, right?
No, I mean, but you play at a certain speed. Going against a scout team, I'm sorry, you're just not going to be at 100%. You got guys that aren't playing in the NFL servicing you as a scout team, right? The way you get better at practice when you go ones-on-ones, when you go against guys that are playing in the NFL at full speed, and of course you're not tackling them, but at least getting to the point of contact with that full speed engagement. And I don't know how much they're doing it, that in practice. I don't know if they're even eligible to do that at practice, but something's not transpiring over because they keep saying they're practicing well and it's going well, but something's not transferring over because what we've seen here, every single game at MetLife, we've seen poor tackling here.
And Paul, the bigger problem now this week, it's a short week. This is all walkthrough week. Like you can't do any of that this week with a Thursday game coming up.
No, you can't. And I think what I'm pleased about, the reason that you aired that, John, and you're going to air Dexter Lawrence in just a bit.
No, we already did. We already
did.
Yep. We
got
Dexter already.
Folks, if you didn't pick it up, those 2 guys are beyond angry. They're furious.
Yes.
They are furious. You could see it in their eyes. You could see it in their body language. I know you don't have a visual on the radio, but it was there. More angry, more disgusted, more fire than I have ever seen in this Giants locker room, at least in recent years.
And that's about the defensive performance from those 2 games,
yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Yes. I just want to make sure that we're being clear about what they're angry about. I don't want people extrapolating.
No. About what they put on the field. Mm-hmm. And by the way, for anybody out there, and there are fans out there who keep saying, well, lose out, get the higher draft pick. Okay, I would love for you to go nose to nose with these guys and tell them that it's better to lose out. Because if you were in their faces and you could see and hear what they were saying, then you would never dream of saying lose out.
I want
you
to
would never say that.
I want to revisit JC's question about the offensive leadership in the next segment, but we have one more guy on defense in the locker room I want to get to. Kayvon Thibodeaux talked to the media after the game. It's his first game back from that wrist injury. Let's listen to him downstairs.
NFL's hard, winning games are hard, and we just got to keep getting better.
Malik just said to us that he's just tired of losing. How do you react?
Man, I try to just keep my emotions real poised and just copacetic. Obviously, all you can do is your job in this point, and just trying to continue to focus on what us as an outside linebacker group and what as a defense, we can get better at to contribute to the team.
Defensively, as a group, do you just need to do a better job tackling?
Yeah, and that just starts with the individual. I think we got to get back to the simple things. Football is about making tackles and getting the offense guy on the ground. So we got to do a lot better at that.
Kayvon, after being out for about a month or so with the wrist, how do you feel physically you were able to do what you wanted to do?
Definitely was gassed, but you got to keep playing. Z's went down early, so I had to do more than we expected. But that's the nature of the beast. So just me trying to continue to get back in shape.
Were they just really good today, or did you guys struggle in areas?
A little bit of both, man. I think you can't take any team for granted. Every team is good in the NFL. I just think you got to make the plays when they come to you.
Dave said just not good enough today as a ball club. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we had opportunities, we didn't take advantage of them, and we didn't make a way for ourselves. So.
Tips. What are some of the main issues you're seeing in stopping the run?
I think just fundamentals. We got to tackle, we got to rally. When we do get there, it looks great. When we don't, it looks horrendous. So just being sharper. I think we just got to continue, getting better at our individual fundamentals.
How deceptively slippery is Baker Mayfield?
Smart quarterback, very elusive, very heads-up guy, good at finding, his dump-down receiver or target. So, they got the best of us.
That's Kayvon Thibodeaux after the game, guys. Good to see him back on the field, but the pass rush, Paul, non-existent in this game. They weren't getting close to Baker. It's not like he was just getting the ball out. JC made the point earlier in the postgame. They're blitzing. He's still sitting back there, reading the field, getting it out. Bob made this point a bunch of times on third downs. He's scrambling. He's running for first downs left and right. Second straight game. They didn't have a great game against the Panthers in Munich either, where the pass rush has got a little bit quiet the last couple times out.
We need to give credit to Mayfield's escapability because he was very good.
Not a lot of pressure, though, in general.
No, there were times, look, Jonathan's next to me in the box, right? And there are times he's like, oh, they blitzed. Look at the time he's got. And 5 and 6 guys are coming, and by the time they get to Mayfield, 4.5, 5 seconds down the road, he's already looked at his first 2, 3 receivers. Then he decides to move out, and then he makes a play. No, I don't think there's any question, John. The last 2 weeks, the pass rush, in my opinion, and I know that their pressure number wasn't that bad against Carolina, I just don't think the pass rush was nearly as dangerous as it needed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about escapability, and that's just pocket mobility, what we've seen from Baker Mayfield. And a couple times when we were talking throughout the game, like there were people around him, but he did a great job in navigating that, the space inside the pocket, getting to where the Giants aren't, and then getting the ball down the field. If you got to cover for 4 or 5 seconds, that's almost impossible to do that against these wide receivers.
Now, JC, I said this after the Carolina game, and we've heard of guys on the front seven talk about how the defense has to be unified in the pass rush. You have to come in a wave. What I've seen is that the last couple of weeks, the pass rush has been jagged like a key, where you've had one guy here, but one guy back here, one guy here, and that allows these little pockets.
Levels.
Where where they're not all on the same level of pass rush, and it allows pockets where if the quarterback has that escapability where he can find that little spot to move his feet, that's how he buys the extra time. And the Giants have not had that even pressurized pass rush. It's been too jagged, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, 888-808-1019. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back to get to your calls. More sound from the locker room, that and more. The Giants, again, fall to the Bucs 30-7. Giants TV, presented by Bob's Discount Furniture, is the official connected TV app of the New York Giants. Available for free now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and inside the Giants mobile app. Stream game highlights, interviews, TV shows, and more exclusive video content with Giants TV. Timeout. We'll come back, take your calls, more audio from the locker room, that and more when we return.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Tyrone Tracy Jr., and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN, and WFAN FM, New York.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7. The aforementioned Tyrone Tracy in the locker room after the game made that big fumble inside the 10-yard line. Let's hear from him.
The results change the narrative over these next 6 games of where you are right now.
I mean, we got a lot of talented young guys. As you can see, we all contribute on the football field. So I feel like we have a team to where potentially we can impact the game. So any way we can impact the game, we need to make sure that we're doing it in the right way.
Tyrone, if I may ask on the fumble, was you trying to do too much? Were you trying to give extra third effort kind of thing? Is that what happened?
Yeah. So, I had the ball in the wrong hand. That's the main part. I had the ball in the right hand. I should have had it in my left hand. But, yeah, I'm always trying to fight for the extra yard, but I got to understand, when enough is enough. And that right there just kind of hurt us, at the end of the day. So, when that situation ever comes up again, I got to understand, when to call the dogs off and just, go down. But again, I feel like if I had the ball in my left hand, then that wouldn't happen. High probability wouldn't happen.
I've seen some coaches, when a young player has a turnover like that, they abandon him for a little while. Brian Daboll doesn't do that to you. He gives you the ball back again. In fact, I even saw him talk to you on the sidelines. How much does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Me and Daly have a good relationship. He knows I play hard. He knows I do things the right way to the best of my ability. And that fumble really doesn't define me. And he has trust in me, and I trust myself as well. So when I go out there on the football field, I do my best to put the team in a good position.
Tyrone, Brian Daboll said you guys had a really good week of practice on tempo, execution-wise. Why is that not translating over to Sunday afternoons, or in this case, this Sunday?
Yeah, I feel like we have to execute better. That's really all it is. We have to execute better. And during the week, it's kind of a controlled environment. Out here on Sundays, it's not controlled. So, we have to, kind of flow with the punches. But at the end of the day, we have to do our job. Each and every person on the football field. Dave's can only call the plays. So we have to go out there and, execute, everything he calls.
That's Tyrone Tracy. Let's go to Cliff in Manhattan. He wanted to talk about Tyrone Tracy. Cliff, what's going on?
Yeah, thanks, guys. The bottom line, it's a young team, and he's the person I'm thinking of first because, he put out either a tweet or a comment a couple of weeks ago, after one of his big games, and hey, it's only, and I've only been a running back for a year. Remember that? And that's the point. Most running backs in the NFL have been running backs their whole life. And I don't think he's had that much experience, with the situations where he's lost it.
Some of those things, Cliff, where you're not putting it in the right hand, I think that you actually could, chalk that up to natural experience. Mm-hmm. Correct. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah, and it was changing hands the last time.
It was changing hands. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So and going into the game, that first drive. We talked about other teams during the broadcast. They mentioned other teams coming in to us for their get-right game. Well, this reminded me of the Bengals game. The Bengals were supposed to have had all kinds of problems coming in to see us, and the same thing was said about Tampa on defense. And what we don't get before the game comes and what the coaches can't prepare for is what those other teams have done since their last game to fix their stuff. And we found out after the Bengals game that they had fixed a lot of stuff. And they're still not doing that great, but still, they did a lot better against us. And the same thing happened today, And the other thing that I noticed was...
and by the way, real quick, just not to interrupt you, Cliff, Cowboys have not won a game at home yet this year.
Right.
Well, who's next?
We'll see. I'll be here. No, this team won the Super Bowl not that long ago, and at least 3 guys that I remember were out there today, and all 3 of them made big plays. Evans, Vita Vea, and Devontae David. They all made big plays, so they still got those guys. And Baker is who he is. And that was this is a playoff team from last year that has a clear path to getting back in the playoffs this year, and they're just so much more advanced than us. But the whole young team thing is, I wonder if the tackling thing, the technique really means angle. I mean, Brian Burns also mentioned wrapping up. But, these guys that got drafted to be defensive players for us, they've also been tackling their whole life, and I think it's just very different. You guys have taught us when they get to the NFL. And the game is faster. It's only the best guys from all of the experience that they've had before that they're going up against. Everybody on the field, that like that play that Musau missed. I'm sure he knows how to tackle, but isn't it maybe angle more than wrapping up? And that would be maybe the technique that they're talking about. But nobody's given up. And I think it did make a difference, the whole Daniel thing, because they got that out of Brian Burns. I forget exactly the way he said it, but he said he's a captain, he's a leader, and it's a bummer. He said it was a bummer. That's what he said.
Look, Cliff, absolutely right. Look, in some ways it is a bummer, and we appreciate the call, but and we're going to talk about this with a couple other callers that we have on the line. I mean, guys, look, we knew going in here all the problems with the team this year were not the quarterback. I mean, we went through the whole self-scout this week, whether it's the takeaways, the run defense, red zone execution, go through it. It wasn't just a quarterback issue. The drops, it wasn't just a quarterback issue this year. Now, people yelled at us for saying that earlier in the year. Now I feel like people on the other side are going to yell at us for saying it again for another reason.
Paul, let me speak about what Cliff said about the defense, too.
Yes.
He talked about the angles, but it's all of those things that Cliff was mentioning, right? And we talk about these young players coming into the league, and they always talk about the speed of the game, how it's so much faster. It's not about the players being fast. It's about how fast the plays are being ran, how fast the running backs are getting to the line of scrimmage, how fast those linemen are getting up to you, how fast they're executing the plays. If you're thinking on defense, you're lost. You lost already. You have to read and react. You don't think on defense. You think and you process information before the play. Then after the play, you read and react. There's no time to think. And if these young guys are out there trying to process information after the ball is snapped, they're going to be late. And I think that's what you're kind of seeing. Got a lot of young guys, especially in the secondary, playing for the Giants, and they're a little bit late because I think they're trying to process information instead of read and react.
When people talk about winning attitude, to me, Jonathan, and I think you can speak to this because you've been on winning and losing teams. That's about how you deal with the emotions during the game, how you focus play to play to play, how you make sure you cross all your T's and you dot all your I's and you pay attention to all the little details. Those kinds of things add up to making winning plays. That's how you become a winner, so to speak. Okay, so think about this for a second. This Giants roster right now has two guys with a Super Bowl ring, okay? Only two, Stinney and Nunes Roches. Two guys who have actually worn a Super Bowl ring. I think that's something that needs to be considered. I think when I said on the pregame show, only 17 of the 53 active players were on the playoff team of 2022. You've got a whole bunch of guys the last 2 years on this team who have not known winning. And I hate to say it, but it's a chicken and the egg kind of thing. Until you get there, until you taste it, sometimes it's very hard to hear people speak about it and experience it. It's until you do it yourself, you can't get it, right?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And they don't know what a winning standard is, and I think that's kind of what it is. Like, Daboll has experience winning. He's part of Patriots, part of Alabama, like when they win that championship. Like, he's been around it, so he understands it, right? Joe Shane with Buffalo, he understands what winning is. A lot of these players don't understand what it means and what it looks like to win in the NFL. Some of these guys won in college. Okay, cool. And the NFL is a whole different story.
I mean, even Brian Burns in Carolina did not do a whole lot of winning there.
Right.
Correct.
All right, I want to get back to the calls, 888-808-1019. Let's go to Frank in Syosset. He'll join us next on Giants Extra Point. Hey, Frank.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm a loyal Giants fan. I go back to Fran Tarkenton. I'm in my 60s. I used to listen to Paul O'Neill on the Yankees say, when you put that little pinstripe jersey on with the N and the Y, it makes you do special things. And I don't hear any of that I'm sorry to speak this way because I love the Giants, but I was listening even to the Rutgers game yesterday, and in the post game, and they didn't win, but the head coach would say things like, they left it all out on the field. I wish I could have gave them a win. It was Seniors Day. It was their last home game that they'll ever have, but they pull for each other. The guys on the line look to the guy to the left or right of them and see how they're breaking their butt, and it makes them do things they might not feel like doing today. And I don't hear anything like that coming out of the head coach or any of the players pulling for each other, loving each other. I listen to the games on the radio. I hear a bunch of individual talents. I don't hear team. I don't hear what Strahan and Tuck and Jacobs used to say. It was all about team, Eli. I don't hear that. And I'll tell you, maybe the head coach has to take a different approach. I know Tom Coughlin had to. He had to stop screaming and yelling because the players stopped listening. Maybe he's got to stop slamming the clipboard on the sideline. Maybe he has to take a different approach. But I don't see any stability. The team is also, defensive coordinator gone, McKinney gone, Sterling Shepard gone, Barkley gone, Jones gone. I don't see any stability anymore. And Bob Papa brought up a good point before too. What happened? Why isn't Pinnock, picking off balls and running down the sideline? Why aren't we getting those interceptions? Why aren't we getting those takeaways, recovering fumbles? What happened? They did it last year. So
Frank,
I don't know, guys.
Frank, I hear you, man. No, I got you, man. Appreciate the call. And is it just hard to talk that way when your record is what it is? And the last 2 years, there's been a lot of losing. I'm trying to put myself in the player's spot here to try to. I think Frank, I understand what he's saying. Yeah. I get his point. I want to look to the player here to see if he can give me some, insight into what the locker room's like.
I mean, it gets repetitive. It's like you're saying the same thing week in and week out. They ask similar questions every week, and that's some of the, the beat writers are asking, like, you said that answer last week. You said that answer before. Is it just that? Is it more than that? But like I said before, I've been in situations like this, and you're just trying to figure out, am I doing everything that I can to help this team out? Am I practicing as hard as I practiced? Did I make the plays today? Was I executing correctly? Did I have the right energy today? You have to look inward and question yourself. You have to. And I think most of the guys are doing that, especially when you hear from the defensive guys. They're talking and they're pointing at themselves. They're trying to take accountability for it. But this is almost inexplainable. I feel like the Giants team, especially in the beginning of the season, that they were a lot better than that. I thought they were a lot better than, losing 29-6 against the Vikings to open up the season. And then you looked at today, and it's like, I don't want to say they've regressed, but they don't look any better. That's for sure. Still missing tackles, still allowing big plays, not executing on offense. And there's a lot of questions, but there's not too many answers. And I think everybody's just trying to search for that answer right now. And, look, they got a short turnaround. They're going into Dallas, and Dallas has not played well. So they got to figure out a way to answer some questions when they go down to Dallas.
Talk about leadership on the offensive side of the ball. One of the veterans on this team is Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton spoke to the media after the game. Let's listen in on his and what he had to say.
Yeah, we can if people start doing their job. But, I mean, it's like anything, bro. If you go out there and you don't do what you're supposed to do, then you get beat. And we collectively get beat if you individually get beat.
Darius, how much of it was a matter of you guys not doing your jobs versus them playing better?
Yeah, they're a good football team. It certainly doesn't mean that they're not a good football team, but at the same time, like, this is the National Football League. We're not – this isn't – Tom, Dick, and Jane from down the street. We all drafted. We were all the best Division I football players. So it's not like they got Division I players. We got Division V players. We got capable players that don't play like they're capable, period. And that's why we lose. That's why we go out there and we get beat.
When you talk about players not doing their jobs, is that collective or?
Collective. It's everybody. When you get beat like this, it's no one person, two people. It's everybody. It's all 22 people that play on offense and defense and special teams. It's everybody.
Darius, you can hear it. How sick are you?
Very 6 long years for me, dog. And I do my best. At the end of the day, like, I try not to be selfish. I try to be a good teammate. But, like, at some point, man, it's exhausting. And, like, you just want to compete. Like, all my life, I just want to compete, play football, and compete and win. It hasn't changed.
Do you think this is a breaking point for this team?
I don't know about all that. I just think that, like I said, we just got to do better.
Is it hard when, they obviously cut the guy clearly first
Did you give you guys the best chance? And he did it for a large amount of football leagues.
It's hard to accept that.
Yeah, like I said, DJ didn't play today, so he had nothing to do with what we just put out there on the field. You know, at the end of the day, like whatever happens off the field or in the media or anything has nothing to do with what we do between those white lines. So we have to be better there, more so than anything.
Is this room still?
Yeah, I mean, he's our coach, and I'll ride behind him this week and try to go get a win in Dallas.
Darius, do you think the problem is mental mistakes, or is it physical, a combination? Or what do you think it is?
It's a combination for sure right now. We're obviously not doing things well physically, but some of our mistakes are definitely just mental as well.
Do you think that they're compounding on people? In other words, you know, somebody gets beat and it's like, oh, God, it's going to happen again, versus forgetting about it?
That's kind of an individual basis, but I mean, I think it's the overall concept of like everybody can't have a my bad, you know, because if you have one, he has one, he has one, now there's 60 my bads in a game, you know, so you got to do your best to try to not contribute to that.
Is it sort of hard to think, like, you know, where do you guys go from here, considering, like, obviously the bye week was an important time for you guys to reset, and even all that time off, you guys couldn't come out and perform well, and now you have a short week on Thanksgiving. I mean, does it make things, I don't know, I don't mean to be harsh, but does it make things feel kind of hopeless in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing about a short week is that you don't have a lot of time to dwell on this. So reality is, really tomorrow, you have to get on to Dallas and flush it. So in some ways, it's kind of better that it is a short week because we don't have as much time to sit around and, you know, be depressed.
That's Darius Slayton, talked about how too many guys have my bads. Tommy DeVito talked about too many guys having mistakes on individual plays and little things that short-circuit plays. And he is, Paul, one of the veterans on the offensive side of the ball.
And that's really the point that I wanted to make, John, because if you talk to anyone who knows the guys in this locker room and you said, okay, give me some of the guys who are pros, Slayton is one of those guys at the top of the list. Dexter Lawrence is one of the guys at the top of the list.
Now,
Brian Burns.
In fairness, though, you're right about being a pro. Slayton has his number of my bads this year, too. It drops. He has plenty
absolutely.
of those.
Oh, I think I've got him for 7, to be honest, which is not a great number. But in terms of mentality, leadership,
absolutely,
work ethic, desire, effort, pros pro. Yeah. I'm not talking production necessarily.
Totally get it.
And you've just heard now on this program.
And I would put Jermaine Illuminor in that group. I put
absolutely
Greg Van Roten in that group. Andrew Thomas.
Runyon's in that group too.
Yeah, Runyon too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, these guys are exemplary pros. And you're hearing from all those guys who are furious as heck right now about what's going on. And I think actually, if there's any silver lining, that's a good sign. Because you want those guys to be angry. Because if those guys aren't angry and they're apathetic about it, you've got a big problem. Yeah. But those guys, the guys you're looking up to, the guys you want the other players in the locker room to say, hey, we need to follow their lead. Those guys are putting it out there. They're saying, come on, follow the Pied Piper. We are stinking effed off, right? Let's go. That's about the only good thing I can say about the folks who are going to attack this locker room. Don't think that the Giant locker room is splintered. Don't think that it is broken, because those guys are doing exactly what they should do. They feel as they should feel, and they're making sure their teammates understand and know about it.
All right, let's go back to the calls here, 888-808-1019. Let's go to Joe in Westchester. He's up next. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys. You know, I was watching the obviously the TV broadcast, and, you know, they mentioned Daniel Jones a few times, but as you mentioned earlier, you know, it's not all about the quarterback. The question that was begging to be asked on TV was, what do you think Daniel Jones is thinking right now watching this game? Paul, what do you think?
Well, honestly, and sorry, I didn't interrupt, Joe. I'll let Paul answer too. But I bet you Daniel watched this game and he's devastated that a bunch of his friends and teammates had a poor game, to be honest with you.
I could not agree with you more, because he knows what it's like to go through that. Yeah. And now he had to sit home and watch it.
Thank you, Joe.
You know what? It might have been even worse for him to have to sit in front of a TV and see that and not be able to do anything to help.
He likes Tommy DeVito. He doesn't want to see him get his
question
beat in and
absolutely
back there.
Yeah.
No, this was hard for everybody.
Daniel Jones is a warrior. You know, no
yes,
matter
he
what
is.
anybody else thinks of him, and I talked about this pregame too, you can't take away his toughness. It's very difficult to win games in the NFL. It's very difficult to play quarterback for a New York football team.
Well, and
he's done it for 6 years and got his criticism throughout the way, and he took it on the chin.
That's the frustrating thing about Daniel Jones, right? He checked every box. Like,
Yes.
such a good dude, toughness, leadership, teammates. You hear how his teammates talk about him.
Yep.
Just between the lines, when the ball was in his hands, he wasn't good enough.
Production level.
And that's why the change had to be made when it was. You know, we went through that 3-game stretch early in the year where it looked like he might have been turning a corner. You had the game against Seattle. You had those 3 games in a row where he had 2 touchdown passes and no interceptions. And you're like, all right, well, maybe something's turned around here. And it fell off again after that. So they had to make the change. But you knew, and again, we talked about this when we did our little self-scout during the bye week, right? This team had so many issues that was just beyond the quarterback not being consistent.
I will tell you one thing that I know he probably felt as he was watching this. When late in the fourth quarter, Tommy DeVito got rocked and had to come out of the game, right? I'm going to tell you right now, Daniel's probably screaming at the TV, get up, get up, get up. I hope he gets back in there. And when DeVito came back in the game for the last drive, I thought that was significant. Because Tommy DeVito is Jersey tough, and he's not going to let those people knock him out of the game, no matter how bad the score was. He was kind of like, Jake LaMotta. You didn't get me down, Ray. You didn't get me down. He went back out there for the 15th round.
All right, I'm going to go to Wilson and Roxbury because he wants to talk about DJ, too, before we say goodbye. DJ, Wilson, what's going on?
Hey, Johnny.
What's up, buddy?
Dímelo, papi, dímelo.
What's up, Wilson? How you doing, brother?
All right, listen. I'm going to tell something to Paulie real quick. Paulie, if Mary Men had all the excuses you have for this team, this coach, this general manager, there wouldn't be any divorces, man. I mean, if you actually tell people that this team plays hard for this head coach and that in the locker room is not divided, you are lying to every Giants fan. Hey, Paulie,
No, Cliff, Wilson, the
Go ahead.
locker room is not divided. It's not.
I don't think they're divided. Wilson.
Have you not listened to the actual audio that was played for you? That stuff was not AI. The stuff was legit.
And a microphone, Paulie. This team had 2 weeks to prepare. What happens now? There's not enough mirrors in New Jersey for them to look at themselves in the mirror, and there's not enough film in Hollywood for Brian Daboll to look at the film. And if you tell me that this guy is a good head coach, you actually insulting every Giants fan's intelligence. And I'm sorry, I'm upset because this is crazy already. It's not Daniel Jones, right? I mean, last time I checked, he didn't play today, right?
No, Wilson, appreciate the call. You have every right to be upset. The product has not been good. We totally get where you're coming from on that. But every player in the locker room was asked during their interviews today whether or not the locker room is broken up, whether or not the effort is poor, and to a man, they've all said no. And usually, to be honest with you, when you get to this point in the year and you have veteran leaders on the team and the effort's poor, one of those veteran leaders will come out and say publicly the effort is poor.
Or at least hit you with some I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or leave it up to chance. But everyone has been pretty sure to say, no, we're still practicing hard. Now, does that matter in the end? And, it's all about results, right? But these guys the leaders on the defense are being asked outright, are you guys still working hard? Are they practicing hard? Is the attitude good? Are you playing hard for the coach? And everyone is saying yes. So I have to take their word for it, even though the performance and the execution, especially in this game, has been very,
And
very
a
poor.
number of players quickly came to the coach's defense by saying, we're the ones out there, not the coaches. Correct. I don't know how many of the guys actually made it to the audio of the post-game show.
Well, Dexter did. Brian Burns did for sure.
Several guys went out of their way to say, hey, we're the ones out there. The coaches aren't out there playing. They didn't miss the tackles.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Look ahead to Thursday night's game, or Thursday afternoon's game on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys on Giants Extra Point. Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Brian Daboll, head football coach of the New York Giants, and you're listening to Radio Home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN and WFAN-FM, New York.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, Giants lose to the Bucs 30-7. They fall to 2-9. Let's go to Harvey in Dix Hills. He's our final caller today on Giants Extra Point. Hi, Harv.
Hi, how are you all? I learned from you, so I got 2 points if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
What do you mean by poor tackling? When I obviously a different level, we were taught to tackle low and to read and react. And in the pros, at least, seems my impression that they're more interested in takeaways as they are in tackling, and they seem to be involved in a lot of solo tackles when there should be maybe 2 or 3 people, or gang, what we used to call gang tackling. And
well,
the
Harvey,
second thing is,
I will let Jonathan Casillas answer that question first. Stand by, and we'll get to your second question. JC, answer the first one first.
Yeah, Harvey, I say this every week, especially before the game. You have to gang tackle guys, population to the football. That
I agree with you,
helps you secure the tackle, but then it also creates opportunities for takeaways as well. And Giants haven't done a good job at neither one of those.
All right, what's your second question, Harvey?
the other was about, Daniel Jones, we know, was released, and I don't want to go through all the negative things. Poor accuracy, missing receivers, doesn't throw downfield, et cetera. But I was a little surprised that DeVito was chosen over Drew Lock in terms of the order of quarterbacks. What's your impression of that? What are the three? What's your impression of all three of those quarterbacks? Did DeVito and Drew Lock offer more than Jones did?
Well, you have to understand that right now, with only a one-year contract for Locke, he's likely not to come back at the end of the season. Jones is already gone. DeVito, at least, is a restricted free agent. You've got the right to put out a tender offer for right of first refusal for him, which means, realistically speaking, he may be the only quarterback that you'll have on your roster going into free agency.
And that's the future part of it. The present part of it is that they did win games with him last year, and he has more experience in the offense than Locke does.
Correct. So, and even Locke said himself, look, I had a cameo during the preseason. I got hurt. He's been working this system for 2 years. I had very little game tape to show anybody.
Now, if this continues and they don't score points, we might see Drew Lock before the season's over. We thought we got him.
That's not impossible.
We also got him for one play today because Tommy got banged up and he almost had to get taken out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a short week, too. So just something to keep in mind there. All right, guys, a couple of days left here. 3 days now until the Giants travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys have been a very poor team this year. They're not a very good football team. They did figure out a way to beat the Commanders today by some miracle in Washington. Everyone's very surprised by that, especially with the wild way that game ended with onside kick returns, kickoff returns, 80-yard passes with less than a minute to go. Just a wild finish. Paul, give me your thoughts here. How did the Giants get this fixed in 3 days against a team, frankly, that as bad as the Giants had been playing this year, I thought the Giants have been playing better than Dallas up until this week. Now that's flopped, obviously. But your thoughts on the matchup against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I agree with your comment. I thought the Giants in general, played better than Dallas until this weekend's games. Look, I go back to what I just saw today, right? I saw the Giants' first 4 possessions as they were down 23-0 by the time they got the ball at the very end of the first half to do a kneel down. Mm-hmm. I saw that, and I said, are you kidding me? That, to me, that slow start, like they were literally crawling in the mud and getting sucked in by quicksand, that's no way to start a game. You do that against Dallas, you're going to get whacked in Dallas, too. Let's face it.
Well, not the way the Cowboys offense is playing.
No, it doesn't matter.
Home, they don't play well at home
but you can't play that way against another NFL team.
I agree with you.
That's just not acceptable. Yeah. So my thinking is this. On that first drive, make sure you get some points on the first drive. Get that monkey off your back right away.
And you should be able to run the ball against the Cowboys defense that has not stopped the run this year.
I'm tired of saying what they should be able to do.
Because that was here a couple months ago when Dallas came in here. It was the worst defensive rushing team in the league.
Well, how about today? The Bucs are one of the worst passing defensive teams in the league.
Right.
That didn't work out today at all either. So you're right.
Yeah, but, we always laugh. Good start. Well, you know what? Boy, does this team desperately need a good start.
Necessity for this team.
JC, your thoughts on the game on Thursday?
That's it. I mean, the Giants got to put this one to bed. I mean, this is a rough one, and you can hear by every single guy that was interviewed, you hear the frustration in everybody's voice. They take that home. Hopefully they can get rid of it and come back to work tomorrow because it's a quick turnaround when you got those Thursday. I never liked those Thursday games just because of it. But the Giants now played their second Thursday game of the year. Quick turnaround this week. Thanksgiving, a lot of distractions. Hopefully the Giants can figure out a way to kind of, have their blinders on and focus on Dallas because Dallas is not good at home, but that doesn't mean that they can't be better than the Giants and win against the Giants if the Giants don't come correct to play Dallas this week.
Giants Extra Point was brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giant fans. Shop gifts and unwrap the wonder at Kendra Scott. Hackensack Meridian Health, keep getting better. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers. And by Moody's, decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. JC, good stuff, my friend. Always a pleasure. Paulie Dots, good stuff. Always a pleasure.
You got it,
John. We'll see you guys and talk to you on Thursday for continuing coverage of the Giants during the week. Check out the Giants Podcast Network. You can go to giants.com/podcast, the Giants mobile app. Our rapid reaction with, I believe it's Madeline Burke and Amani Toomer today. Should already be up there, so go check that out. We'll have our usual game preview on the Huddle podcast on Wednesday. We'll also have a Giants Hangout this week. Go check that out. And, of course, Big Blue Kickoff Live is every weekday afternoon at 12:30 on Giants.com. Our myriad of folks will be with you talking Giants football and taking your calls every day. Everyone, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for being with us today. And we'll be with you again on Thursday as we celebrate Thanksgiving and Giants football together right here on the Fan. Pregame show is at 2:30. For Paul Bettino, Jonathan Casillas, Howard Cross on the sideline, Bob Papa, Carl Banks, and our entire crew. Fantastic job today, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Giants fall to the Bucs 30-7. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you in 4 days.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowes.com/terms for full details subject to change.